Hey everybody, it's the Dude here to bring you another video. So here we are, less than a week out before the premiere. We've waited the long summer we thought would never end, but this time next week it'll all be history. This weekend I'm going out of town, coming back on Sunday to the hour-and-a-half season premiere followed by the hour-and-a-half Talking Dead. Did you know that every actor is going to be on Talking Dead? It's going to be like the reunion episode at the end of a season of a reality show. You'll have the winner, the person who died, sitting up front by Chris Hardwick with some of the other more important actors right next to them. And the back row with Aaron and Rosita, those who were voted off first. I'm almost as excited for the Talking Dead episode as I am for the actual premiere. I just can't wait to hear them all talk about it together, because they've been forced to keep it a secret, and now it won't be. So, over the past several months, we've been thinking about the Negan kill, and I've made those videos. Links down in the description. But let's forget about all that for right now. What else is going on? Well, let's get into it. Here is everything we need to see in The Walking Dead Season 7. So Season 6 had a lot going on for it, and it actually left more questions unanswered than just who did Negan kill. First up, Morgan. Way back before Season 6, when the Comic-Con trailer aired, they were setting up a pretty serious clashing between Rick and Morgan, but that's not really what we got. Sure, they had differing opinions, but really the conflict was between Morgan and Carol. So now that Rick has led one or more people to their deaths, after Morgan said no, we shouldn't fight them, how will their relationship change? Will Rick realize the failure in his ways and move towards Morgan's ideology that all life is precious, possibly leading to a more peaceful resolution to this Negan conflict? Or will he abandon all reason and go on a vengeful rampage, causing a further rift between Rick and Morgan? Either way, I expect their dynamic to play a major part in Season 7, but not immediately though. Morgan is going to the Kingdom. How will that change him, and when will he be back? In fact, he's already changed. He's just killed for Carol. Where is his relationship with Carol going? They've had all this tension. Is there going to be a romantic relationship? Are they just going to be friends? Are they going to keep being enemies? Have they changed? Speaking of Carol, where is Carol going? Honestly, last season, I thought she was going to kill herself. She found that she couldn't have connections with people without having to kill for them, so she started pushing people away. It's a very interesting concept, and it served for really interesting character development, but I just thought it was going to end with her death. In the comic books, Carol tries to kill herself once, but fails. And afterwards, everyone kind of judges her and treats her differently, so she befriends a zombie and lets it eat her. It's really tragic and really sad, but I kind of thought that that's where they were going. Now, in the show, Carol has grown way past comic book Carol, starting with the death of Sophia, which doesn't happen in the comics. In the show, that really propelled Carol into a different direction. But still, with the arc she was going on, I thought the only place her story could go was her dying. Since I've thought that Carol's death would have really boosted that season finale, because okay, they don't give us the Negan kill, but we lost Carol. That's a big deal. But that's not what happened. Morgan saves her, and that opens up a whole new mystery for Carol. Now, I don't know where she's going. Part of the beauty of her character is that we never really know where she's going, and I'm really excited to find out. Alright, something I absolutely can't wait for, and this might sound a little odd, is the death of Tobin. Tobin? You remember Tobin, right? He was one of the original Alexandrians. We first see him in the armory when Carol is trying to steal some guns. He says, Do guns frighten you, ma'am? Well, my name is Tobin. And whenever you're ready to learn, I'd be happy to teach you. He's the one that gets one-upped by Abraham on construction duty and quits his job. He's one in a series of Alexandrians who thinks they're hot shit when in fact they kind of suck. In the comics, when the zombies break through the walls of Alexandria, Rick's like running and he's just like, we gotta go check on the fence. And he turns a corner and he just sees Tobin upside down with his guts hanging out, having been ripped apart by zombies. And Rick's just like, oh no, the fence. And it's just kind of brushed over. And honestly, I was really looking forward to this moment. I remember the tower falls down and the zombies start pouring in. We see a shot of Tobin bloody on the ground and I was like, oh yeah, here he comes. They're gonna show it to us. I'm so excited. And then Tara and Rosita show up and wisp him to safety and out of the episode. Wait, what's going on? Where's Tobin? And I was blown away even more when, out of nowhere, Tobin starts to have a relationship with Carol. Now, I guess that's not out of nowhere. He was introduced kind of flirting with Carol, and his relationship with her hasn't really changed. He's still underestimating Carol because he doesn't know her. And at first when they got together, I was like, Carol, why? Don't do that. But I get it. She was trying to fill this void that she felt until she realized that she really just couldn't be around people anymore. But why give all that to Tobin? Why spend all this time on Tobin? Am I spending too much time on Tobin? Probably. Either way, I just can't wait for him to die. Or I want him to become way more important in the plot, like he's secretly Negan's brother and he knows all of his secrets. Huh? Negan? Tobin? Negan? Tobin? They're both tall? No, I want Carol to, like, turn a corner out of nowhere and see his dead body and just be like, oh, is the fence okay? Okay, the next thing we need from Season 7 is more Carl, but only if it's good. Carl is awesome in the comics. Someone asked me who is my favorite character, and honestly, comic book Carl might be at the top of the list. And in the comics, at this point, Carl is still kind of a little kid, and all the things he does are pretty badass considering how young he is. Now, TV show Carl has received a lot of flack over the years, and I don't think it's all Chandler Riggs' fault. He has his good moments and he has his bad moments, but I really think it stems from the writing. A lot of times, the TV show dialogue gets pretty caught up in being a little too metaphorical. In the show, sometimes the actors have a problem delivering a lot of wordy lines, and Chandler Riggs is one of the best examples of that. The dialogue they're giving him just isn't very good. And for a kid who was cast based on his crying ability, it really seems to have taken its toll. Now, Carl plays a really pivotal role in the future of the comics, and I think it's important that we give TV show Carl some solid dialogue with some strong moments, and a good haircut. This past year, I kind of felt like they were pushing Carl out. They skipped over this great story that comes right after he gets shot in the eye. In the comics, he loses his memory. He forgets about his mom dying. When he wakes up, he's like, Dad, where's Mom? And they just skipped it in the show. A little bit later, he convinces Rick to trust Jesus when no one else does. And he goes along to the hilltop, where he actually says, we'll take care of Negan. Will you give us half your stuff? Just like Daryl does in the show. He's gotten a lot with Enid, and I don't really know where that's going. All I know is that Carl needs to get the story he deserves. I think Chandler Riggs can do it as long as they just don't give him any more dialogue like this. My best friend in 3rd grade, he had soy milk every day, and I was like, bleh. Okay, the last thing we need from Season 7 is an overwhelming reaction to the Negan kill. Whoever dies, the news has to affect everyone who hears it. If people back in Alexandria hear about it, they need to be like, oh no, not them. If people at the hilltop hear about it, they get to be like, oh no, not them. It has to affect more than just the main characters. It has to start something. It has to start a war. And it's up to Rick whether to go through with that war or stay smart. Now, I believe that the only person that could die, that could elicit that reaction, is Maggie. Just Maggie. Again, my complete theory is down in the description. I'd like to address a couple of the major arguments as to why Maggie couldn't be the death. There's a pretty widespread misconception that Negan does not kill women. A lot of videos when this episode first came out started with be like, alright, well Negan doesn't kill women, so it can't be any of the women. POV shots say that it's somebody in the van, so it can only be Glenn or Daryl. And I'm sorry, I just don't think that way. And all that about Negan not killing women is just plain wrong. In the comics, the first time, let me make sure. The first time we hear Negan's name in the comics is actually in the scene where Rick and the group are at the hilltop, and more of the hilltop's people show up saying that Negan has some of our people. Specifically, it's a woman named Crystal. Jesus says, if Negan has her, she's already dead. Later we learn that Negan abhors sexual violence, but that has nothing to do with actual straight-up killing. And the biggest piece of evidence as to why Negan kills women, it's just the most hugely spoilery spoiler I could ever tell you. And I don't want to tell you, so I just want you to look in my eyes. And really believe me when I say that Negan kills women. If you want to know, I'm not going to tell you why. Please read the comics. They're just fantastic. Another big problem people have is the last line of that season finale, and that is, damn, taking it like a champ. The question being, could Maggie, in her state, really take it like a champ? Why the hell not? All it would be is just taking the first hit. Honestly, the person just lifts their head up a little bit before getting hit again. And whoever gets killed, it's their last moment on the show. No matter who dies, I would want each and every one of them to take that first hit. And besides all that, the taking it like a champ line is just out of the comics. And for the show, they made it gender neutral. In the comics, he says he's taking it like a champ. In the show, he says taking it like a champ. And to me, honestly, there sounds to be a little bit of surprise in his voice. A lot of people think that Abraham is the only character who could take it like a champ. And I think he definitely could. I don't think he's the only one that could do it. But I also think that Negan's reaction would be a little bit different, teasing Abraham more instead of sounding surprised. I'll give the Abe theory some credit. Abraham is set up for a future, really similar to the way Glenn was set up for a future in the comics right before he dies. They're all in the van, he's just like, man, I'm just so excited about the hilltop, and Maggie, and the baby. Everything's just going so great, Rick. And then he dies. And this is similar to how Abraham was talking to Sasha about their future. He had that bro moment with Eugene. And then he stands up to Negan like, I'll take the bat. But it's just all too obvious. But more than that, I don't want Abe to die right now. Right now, he's alive farther than he was in the comics. I really want to see Negan and Abraham in a world together. I want to see him die a war hero, not at Negan's bat, or even worse, by a bullet, trying to save someone who's already dead. Some people are convinced that if Maggie got picked, that everyone would lash out, because they put Glenn's lashing out in the season finale, and Negan said the first one's free, implying that there will be a second. But honestly, that's not how the scene is supposed to go. The reason the scene is so powerful is because our strongest characters are brought to their knees and are unable to save one of the members of their group. They have to watch. That's why it's so powerful. The moment is not, I want to save them, and then get shot. The moment is, no, I'm going to kill him. They have to save that anger. That anger is what's going to push all of those characters into the rest of their stories. Not today, not tomorrow, but they will kill him. Another thing that gets brought up a lot is, would AMC actually kill a pregnant woman? And I think it's important to note that she's not showing, and that Negan does not know she's pregnant. The death itself won't be any more gruesome than any of the other deaths. And what an amazing moment it will be if after he kills her, someone screams at him, "She was pregnant, you monster!" And I can just imagine him being like, saved you the trouble. No one wants a baby. People have said that there will be a huge backlash from the audience, but I think we're forgetting something. After the death, no matter how horrible and traumatic and politically incorrect it might end up being, they have the whole rest of the episode to respond to that brutality. All of our characters are gonna feel the same pain we do. How dare he do that? That was awful. Any big moral gray areas that the show feels like it needs to answer, it will answer through the reactions that the rest of the characters have. We've had quite a time theorizing about the death, but I myself am planning to go into the episode with an open mind. Even if what happens, in my opinion, is stupid and awful, I'm going to keep watching, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to know the story they want to tell, and I want to see where all of these characters go. I really, really hope that we only lose one. 2 deaths means one less person to grieve, to react, to alter and change the story. And that's what this death needs to do. It is the single most powerful death in the history of the comics, and where it pushes the story is something that's hard to imagine, and I'm so excited to see it. I just want to make it clear that I love Lauren Cohan, I love Michael Cutlitz, and I love Steven Yeun. I don't want to lose any of these actors, but I definitely don't want to lose 2. I think the one character whose death could stand on their own and not need another death to affect the audience would be Maggie. Alright. Those are some of the things that I think we need to see in Season 7. We still have a lot of questions, but we're gonna get our answers soon. I want to thank you all so much for all the support you've given me. A week and a half ago I wasn't on YouTube, and now I have almost 1,400 subscribers, and my first video ever has almost 150,000 views. I literally couldn't have hoped or dreamed for this, and it's all because of you. I appreciate your support and your criticism. It makes me excited, and I hope to see you all back every week for an in-depth review and analysis of each and every episode of this season of The Walking Dead. Alright everybody, let me know what you want from Season 7 and give me your final thoughts on the Negan kill. Please remember to like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and watch it again. This has been The Dude. See ya.